Hello viewers and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram and watch us live on YouTube. Also joining us for today's conversation is Honorable Sani Mudi. He is the spokesman of Jama'atul Nasrul Islam in Plateau State. He was at different times Deputy Chairman of Jos North Local Government, Supervisory Councillor of Works, and most recently Special Advisor to Governor Simon Lalong on Islamic matters. He joins us to discuss the state of affairs in the northeastern state of Plateau, ranging from the protracted ethno-religious conflict and peace-building efforts and the concerns generated by the ongoing distribution of 500 million naira palliative to those affected by the latest round of clashes in the state, which was provided by the Office of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. It is our pleasure to have you on our platform.
Thank you very much.
Yes, maybe I should just start with the issue of security. So far, how far in Plateau State?
Well, thank you. Well, so far, not so good. Not so cheering news from what is happening in the state, especially in the central zone, where we've been having killings around Mongo area and other places there. It's very unfortunate that the government that has come into power in the last, that has been in power in the last 100 and so days has not been up to the task in terms of addressing the issue, has not risen up to expectation, really. So it's a very sad...
I know we invited you here as spokesman of JNI, community leader in his own right, and someone who had participated in many security reports. We invited you, security meetings. Yes. We invited you ahead of the inauguration, and you set a kind of agenda for the governor. Is it that he's not following that template left by his predecessor, or there is a problem somewhere?
Yes, surely he's not following the template led by his predecessor. I gave that advice hoping that the state, in the hope that, of course, as a citizen of that state, I will always have best wishes for the state, for whoever is in charge of affairs, at the helm of affairs there. We thought the governor will be alive to his responsibility in handling matters on in the state dispassionately. Unfortunately, it is not so. So we gave him the benefit of the doubt at the beginning, thinking that he will be a...
And you think 100 days is such a long time for someone to be assessed, or you think he's still settling down?
Someone can be assessed in 30 days as far as leadership is concerned, except if you are not prepared for it. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a remarkable impact on the first day of his inauguration, on the day of his inauguration.
But people are still paying for some of the decisions.
No, we'll come to that. But we are talking of Plateau State.
Yes.
For somebody who is an indigenous of that state, who has been in the scheme of affairs of that state, he has been a local government council chairman. So he must have been, he must have prepared before even trying his hands on the governorship. He must have an agenda. What that agenda is for, we don't know, but we are seeing that it is contrary to our expectations or to the expectations of the people of the state, including even those who voted for him. I'm sure most of them are disappointed by now.
Where is the problem coming from now? Because from the time of election to this day, I don't have the figure, but I have read it, a lot of numbers, here and there. Number of people killed, number of people displaced. Are you also worried that things are actually going back to the 2001 era in Plateau?
Yes, really worried that things are going back to those unfortunate days of violence and killings on the plateau. The issue is that it seems that as I said, the governor is not prepared for it, and maybe he doesn't even want to take advice. If I may recall, when the incident started in Mongo, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his statement, or in a statement by his special advisor, called on the governor to engage all stakeholders in dialogue with a view to finding lasting solutions to this. He specifically mentioned that groups like ACF, Arewa Consultative Forum, GNI and CAN, who have played key roles, very strategic roles in the past in terms of peace building in the state. The governor never heeded to that advice, because I know as a stakeholder that up till date, no such dialogue has ever been convened by the governor, either within the locality, or within the state in general. And things are continuing, to happen.
To deteriorate.
Deteriorate.
Is it the fear of the tribunal? Because he's actually involved in cases, at the tribunal.
Well, let me use the words of former President Goodluck Jonathan, that no election is worth the life of a citizen of this country. So the case of tribunal or whatever is not worth the life of one citizen of Plateau State. So if I may say it, the governor is derelicting on his duty.
Are you saying this with all sense of responsibility or as a chieftain of the APC? Because I know you were part of the presidential campaign.
Sometimes we look at things dispassionately, politics aside. When it's a matter of life, when it is a matter of progress and well-being of the citizens, you have to put politics aside. Even when your own party is doing the wrong, you have to say it. But this time around, it is somebody that from the opposition. Of course, we never believed his party and can do or will do well for Plateau in view of the circumstances and what we've done. If their intention is to remove the structures of peace building that Lalong has entrenched on the Plateau, of course they will surely take Plateau backwards.
Where are the elders that's supposed to, of course you are one of them, but where are the other
I learned
are they
that,
speaking out?
I learned that they had called a meeting of elders one day and it was not really palatable. What happened, he was confronted with issues by the elders as to what really, he wanted them to do. There were no answers as I learned. I wasn't there, but I knew that,
so
it was a belated move actually.
Yes, if I ask you to now rate the performance of the Plateau PDP government, because we will invite them here to also give their own side of the story. How will you rate them?
Well, I will rate them as 0. Virtually 0. Nothing on ground. And then, of course, in terms of governance, especially in a state with that kind of diversity as we have in Plateau, I will say they have failed.
But they are also saying they could not do much, believing that they have done enough within 100 days because of the failure of Lalong administration.
Let me tell you, within this 100 days they have been in office, they have received almost 12 months equivalent of subvention that Lalong received in his last 1 year. Within this 100 years, these 3 months, the subvention they receive, the grant they receive, subvention they receive from the federation account is worth about 1 year's grant of Lalong. The last 1 year especially. I can tell you this.
And you didn't see anything on ground?
Of course, nothing on ground. Nothing commensurate.
Maybe he's trying to put his house together. He just had his commissioners, not quite long.
What does it take to put a cabinet? What does it take to put a cabinet? What does it take to put a cabinet? Does it require money to put a cabinet in place? It doesn't require money. It goes with the selection of people, sending the list to the House of Assembly for confirmation.
There is this hashtag, especially in Plateau. Tribunals, is it on trial? This hashtag.
Well, for everybody contesting for election, you must be prepared for tribunal. Either when you win, somebody will take you to tribunal and petition against your victory, or when you lose, you take somebody. For every contestant in an election, you make 2 preparations. When you win, you will prepare for, of course, petition against your win. When you lose, you will prepare, because in the course of the election, you are looking at every nook and to find where there are lapses in case you lose, in case you are cheated out of it, rigged out of it, so you can have grounds for petition.
Some of us that are students of politics, we report politics.
Yes.
I've realized that there are like 3 tribunals in Plateau. I don't know, I may be wrong, but some are they are sacking the PDP candidates, winners. Some are sacking the other side, that's APC. And then we are now awaiting for the governorship election. For instance, the National Assembly petitions in Jos, it sacked a member representing Jos South, not Jos East, right? Federal constituency.
Yeah.
That is Bagos. And his Lantan South counterpart for lack of structure. What does that mean?
There was another one there also.
Of course, we have
the senator
it gave it
the
to
Southern Zone,
of course,
and then the member
representing Plateau South, right?
Kiladi,
that is Bali.
And then the member representing Bali Kiladi from Federal Constituency.
Yes, it's getting confusing. This one is saying
it's not really confusing. It's a very straightforward matter.
Okay.
In the course of let me be brief because we have no time.
Yes.
In the course of their disagreements in PDP around 2020, they were about convening the state congress of the party in March, I think, 2020. There was this agreement, and one of the groups, factions, took the matter to court. And at the end of which, of course, they got a ruling by the court, a judgment by the court that, yes, the Congress as conducted by the other faction was wrong and illegal. So all officials produced through that arrangement are deemed illegal since there was a court pronouncement. That's number one. And then sequel to that, there were, there was election into local government councils. And then that illegal contraption called State ESCO brought forward a list of candidates for the local government elections. And then, of course, the State Independent Electoral Commission was averted to the fact that, look, there was a court judgment against this ESCO. So whatever they do, it's deemed illegal. And then, based on that, the State Electoral Commission refused to accept this list from that contrived, The PDP now took the PLASEC to court, wanting the court to declare their own, list as, authentic, and then, of course, they compelled the State Electoral Commission to accept the list and then let them be allowed to contest for election. And then the court again ruled against them. So you can see a second round of judgment against them. The court said, no, go back and obey the instruction of that code, which earlier said that you should reconvene a state congress, a properly convened congress.
What?
From what?
To the state.
That's why it is. They didn't. So they are now in defiance of two courts. Initially, it was one, and another court reaffirmed that they must obey that court order.
Welcome back. If you are just joining, we are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Insecurity calls for the creation of forest guards to beef up security in unmanned areas, especially in northern Nigeria, where there has been a prevalence of bandits activities, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and even terrorism has increased in the last couple of months. And away from that, the Muslim rights concern, MURIC has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that his government's political appointments are inclusive, representing all regions, faiths, and sections of the country. MURIC expressed concern that the appointments made by President Tinubu have predominantly favored Yorubas and the Christians, stating that the appointments lack balance. MURIC cited instances where key economic positions, including the Minister of Finance and the newly nominated CBN governor, were given to Christians and Yorubas. They also highlighted the omission of competent Muslim figures like Professor Ali Pantami and Malam Nasir El-Rufai from ministerial appointments. And in a similar vein, an assembly of Christian youths representing the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory, organized under the banner of the All Christian Youths in northern Nigeria, has praised President Tinubu for what they consider to be an inclusive style of governance. In particular, the group applauded the appointments of Christians to key roles in the government, including Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa. And joining us now to discuss these issues and more, we have in the studio Isaac Abrak. He's a hostile environment journalist with vast experience both in national and international media. Incidentally, he's also the chairman of Northern Christian Youth Professionals. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Hamza.
You are wearing two caps today.
Yes.
Yes, an environmentalist and also leader of the Christian Youth. And from our synopsis, you can see these are burning issues. Just yesterday, maybe we should start with the politics.
Very well.
Yes, MURIC said Tinubu is a disappointment from what he has done on one hand. And on the other hand, it is Christian youths that are pressing him that, after all, he has proved them right or wrong for the balanced appointment he has. What is your take on that?
Basically, I commend all groups, both MURIC and the Christian groups, Nigeria is in a state whereby these conversations have to keep on going, you know, so that we can balance in our insecurities. What has brought us here previous years, you know, of what has brought us here are previous years of not so good governance. The dividend of democracy has not so been equally distributed, and as such you find all groups trying to protect themselves. I remember that during the elections or before the elections, the Christian communities, particularly in the north, were against the Muslim ticket, you know, were against the Muslim ticket, you know, and as such, it was because they were feeling insecure, you know, especially maybe given from previous regimes, you know, the dividend of democracy have not been adequately distributed, and as such people feel a little bit insecure. But today we have this a group coming up, a Christian northern group coming up to say, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, thank you very much, thank you for proving us wrong, because we are astonished that your government has been all inclusive. And again, the Muslim group is saying, no, you have left us out. In all of this, Bola Ahmed Tinubu should continue to give out the dividend of democracy. These groups are only trying to protect, you know, for themselves, and also, and if they are doing it in good stead, it is a step in building national cohesion, because at every point in time, we must have groups speaking for themselves. But if I'm to access that, I would say that the president has been balanced in his appointment. If you look at the Muslims have had very key roles, you know, in terms of his ministers. We have two governors, former governors, as ministers of defense. Both are northern Muslims. We have the Minister of Agriculture, you know, and all of those. We have the NSA, you know, a security chief, you know, a Muslim. The Christians have the chief of defense staff, you know, they have the SGF and all of. So these are a balance, you know. And going forward, it's the government is still very young. There are still appointments that are going to come, and I believe that the president is going to continuously try to balance all of this. But what I'm saying in all of this is that Murid, the Northern Christian concerned, the Northern Christian group, if their criticisms is in good state, is in towards national cohesion and national development, then everybody is doing what is supposed to be done, and the president should listen.
Okay, at what point do you think we should start moving forward, not reducing appointments along ethnic and religious lines, rather than professionalism?
Thank you very much. I think being a journalist now going into politics, I think this government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which was a Muslim ticket, it is moving on the right direction. It is going to succeed, and I pray it succeeds. Once this government actually succeeds and satisfies, you know, all Nigerians, at least to a level of that we can say yes, to a fair level, because you cannot satisfy everybody 100%, but fairly, people now will not have problems on who the religion of the person who is appointed into office or the ethnicity of the person who is appointed into office. But so what I'm saying, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government is an opportunity, and this is what we have been saying, is an opportunity to do away with these parochial thinkings, to do away with this sentiment. Once it succeeds, once this Muslim ticket succeeds, we will no longer have any problem during appointment. We will have a Christian ticket, and Muslims will not complain. We will have an appointment where the president and the vice president would not be Christian or Muslims, and nobody will care, as long as the dividends of democracy are adequately shared amongst the people and there is good governance. We would not complain.
Most likely your group, the Northern Christian Youth Professionals, was not part of those who issued the latest statement. But ahead of the election, I hosted you here.
Yes.
And you supported the Muslim ticket. Are you disappointed or you are satisfied?
I am absolutely satisfied. I am satisfied. One of the big goals that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been able to score is to prove those Christians whom thought he was going to do a Muslim ticket, whom thought that the Muslim ticket was going to be a jihadist to convert all Nigerians to a Muslim state. You know, so if today you have the Christians whom thought otherwise, now coming to admit that, sir, thank you for proving us wrong, you have included us in this government, then it means that our support for the Muslim ticket, our support that anybody in Nigeria, as far as you have good intention to lead, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, you know, it doesn't matter. That means that we have been vindicated. And we call on all other Nigerians to look at the Northern Christian youth professionals and take a lead from what we did by supporting a Muslim ticket. And today it is benefiting everybody. So therefore, I am satisfied.
And what is your call to youths? Because, you know, problem snowballs over time.
Yes.
It is not nip in the bud.
Yes.
What is your call to those who have been appointed into key positions? How should they see themselves so that they will not give room for suspicion?
Thank you very much for this question. We are happy to say we commend the president, you know, for having given appointments to the youths. We are very proud of our colleagues that are serving in the presidency who are within our age groups. You know, we commend that. We just want to speak to our colleagues whom have been given this opportunity to serve. That please, you have seen the president is giving his appointments without any sentiments. That is a marching order to you that have been given appointment to serve in his office to administer your office without any prejudice, without any sentiments, without any tribalism. Just work for Nigeria. Wherever you come from, if you are nominated by Khan, now you are a servant leader of the Nigerian
Not
people.
Khan.
Not Khan. If you have been supported by
Murik or
Jama'atu Nasir Islam
or Jama'atu Izala Telebidi,
you are now a servant leader of the Nigerian people. Not where you come, not where your nomination come from or whatever it is. Let us just serve Nigeria. And that is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying to everybody.
Thank you very much. Now moving to security, are you not worried with the rise in crimes and criminality, especially in the last 2 months? Where did we get it wrong?
You see, Hamza, I always like to discuss this issue of insecurity with you because you have most of your life. In your most very vibrant, active days on the field, you also worked in Maiduguri, and you saw it quite clearly how you understand the factors that are causing all this insecurity. I am not surprised, Hamza, that at a particular point in time, we had it went low.
Ahead of the election, especially.
Yeah, ahead of the election. Now it has spiked. You see, we must understand that until we secure our forests, Hamza, until we secure our forests, this thing is always going to come back at us. We are a Nigerian, we are geographically located in a region where most of our neighbors are not doing so well. Most of them are impoverished, sorry to say. You know, their governments, their economies, even though our economy is struggling too, but theirs is worse. So therefore, people are gravitating towards Nigeria. And in most of these states, we've had a lot of wars. Are you talking about Mali? Are you talking about Burkina Faso?
Libya.
Are you talking about Libya? All of these things have developed people who are bandits. They are like war merchants. You know, and as such, they have come to Nigeria either through Boko Haram, recruiting them to come and help them, you know, fight, carry out their terrorist activities, or through aggrieved Fulani headsmen, Fulani headers whom were attacked, especially during the 2011 post-election crisis, and they were angry, and their leaders told them, please, let's forget. Some of them refused and went to their neighbors, to their relations who are in these neighboring countries, and invited them to come and carry out reprisal attacks. These people came and discovered Nigeria was a gold mine. They knew Nigeria was rich.
My name is Abdullahi Ahmed, standing in for your regular host, Hamza Idris. Today, we start with the biggest story in the country. The Kano Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has sacked Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, declaring the All Progressives Congress APC winner of the March 18 governorship election in the state. Yusuf, who contested on the platform of the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, was declared winner by INEC after the elections earlier this year. While Nasiru Gawuna, his co-contender in the APC gubernatorial election, congratulated him after the victory, the APC, however, proceeded to the courts to seek redress. In its verdict today, on Wednesday, a three-man panel of justices ordered the withdrawal of the certificate of return, which was initially presented to Kabir Yusuf as governor by INEC, and directed that a fresh certificate of return be issued to Gawuna of the APC. Now, the court, while delivering judgment, had deducted 165,663 votes from Governor Yusuf's total tally, describing them as invalid votes with reasons that the ballot papers were not duly stamped or signed and therefore declared by the presiding officer during the poll. Now let's get some insight. As you can imagine, it's been a very interesting long day today in Kano. Joining us on the program is Clement Oloyede. He's the Bureau Chief of Daily Trust in Kano, as Clement has been giving us update on this development today. And he's joining us to give us update on what transpired today in Kano and how things are shaping up. He's joining us via phone from Kano this evening. Clement, good evening, and thank you very much for making time. It has been a very busy day for you today. I can't imagine how tired you are. Give us a nutshell of how this day started and where we are today following that judgment.
Thank you very much for having me on the program. You've already summarized it. It's been a very active day from early in the morning. The whole town has been apprehensive, but as around 4 p.m. today, the tribunal came down with its final verdict, and that was that the election that brought Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has been sacked as Kano State Governor, and Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna of PC has been declared the winner of the election. After the tribunal based its judgment on the 3 grounds of the petition, and resolved all the 3 grounds of the petition in favor of the APC. And the 3 grounds are first about the qualification of Governor Yusuf of NNPP, qualification as regards his membership of the party. APC proved to the court, to the tribunal, that as of the time of the election, the name of Governor Yusuf was not on the membership register of the NNPP. For the second ground, in resolving the second ground, tribunal held that that there was non-compliance to the Electoral Act in the conduct of the election, and they referred this to the total number of permanent voter cards that were collected in the affected polling units affected by this non-compliance, and they agreed that this exceeded the margin of lead used in declaring Governor Yusuf as winner by INEC. And in resolving the third issue, which relates to invalid ballot papers used in the election, the tribunal held that based on the Electoral Act, the ballot papers in question that were without stamp, without signature, without date of election were worthless paper. And these total ballot papers were about 165,000. The tribunal thereafter deducted this 165,000 from the vote scored by Governor Yusuf. And with that, it was able to conclude that the winner of the election was Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, and declared that INEC should withdraw the certificate of return given to Governor Yusuf and issue a return to Yusuf Nasiru Gawuna. So as of now, that was the judgment, and after then there has been a little bit of tension in town, while APC supporters are celebrating in pockets of places. We will see that residents, business owners were quickly closing down their shops and heading on because quite obviously they were afraid that hoodlums can take advantage of this situation and start looting their shops and breaking into their shops. This is not unconnected to what happened after Governor Yusuf was declared winner on March 18 earlier this year, which saw that a lot of shops were looted, properties were vandalized and burnt down. So as of now, that is the situation in ground. And let's not forget, NNPP has already said that they are going to appeal this judgment, that they are not satisfied with the judgment, and they will go to the appeal court.
Right.
So that is the situation as of now in Kano.
Okay. Let's walk back to the judgment itself. Give us a picture of the environment, because we understand that the three-man panel were not in the court premises in person to deliver this verdict. We understand they took advantage of a virtual means to deliver this verdict. Give us a picture of what it was like in the courtroom while the proceeding was going on.
Yeah, what you learned was the correct version of things. When we got to the tribunal, because getting people to the tribunal was a very hectic one. Journalists spent more than 2-3 hours outside waiting for clearance. Afterwards, about 15 of us were cleared to go in. And when we got in, it took some time also before the tribunal was set up and people were allowed in with their pass. There was a pass issued. And it was surprising when we got in and noticed that the judges were not there. Well, instead, a screen was being projected where the judges are already seated, and we are connected via Zoom. At the first part of the judgment, there was a lot of network glitches. There was hardly a 10-minute stretch that we did not have to reconnect to where the judges were delivering the judgment. But after we took about 10 to 15 minutes recess, the second part of the judgment went smoothly. In fact, throughout the second part, there was no point that the network went off, and that was the situation then. So first, people were surprised, but for those that were familiar with the development in Kano, it wasn't really much of a surprise, because some of the security officials, top security officials I spoke with earlier, told me that there are chances that the judges were not going to be in Kano for the judgment,
right,
because of the threats to their life that was issued by a former commissioner in the Kano State government, who has now been actually dismissed by the government.
Right. Do we know?
It's more or less
right.
Yes.
Do we know whether the judges were in Kano but decided not to show up in court and proceeded with the virtual proceeding, or is there no information about that?
No, I think from what I gathered, they were not in Kano. Right. Because before the proceeding started, I was speaking with the Commissioner of Police, and he told us, those off the record, that they were the one that was supposed to escort the judges to the tribunal. But as of that time they were speaking, they had no idea where they were located. And invariably, from other people that I spoke with, it was clear that they were not in Kano. And from feeders from the secretariat of the tribunal, it appeared as though they were reading from Abuja. There's no guarantee on that, but it looks like they were reading the judgment from Abuja, maybe from one of the courts, maybe the Court of Appeal or so, because we learned that the directives was given by the NJC to protect the judges. Right.
And was this virtually through audio, or virtually they were visible and you could see them on a screen?
We could see them. Yeah, it was both video and audio.
Right.
We could see them. It was, I think that was what I said earlier, there were glitches. Sometimes the video will go off and the audio will still be talking, then sometimes both will go off. But after they fixed the glitches, and it's just the normal network problem that we sometimes have in this part of the world, they were able to resolve that, and the second part went smoothly. We were seeing them and we were hearing them all through.
Okay, it's very interesting.
Let's not forget, yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see our courts, adopt these new technologies to, incorporate them in part of the. Let's just quickly get.
It's not the first time, actually. I think this really took gained momentum during after the outbreak of the coronavirus.
Right.
Most of the court proceedings have been adopting virtual.
At least it's good to see a continuity in that area.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We saw some of the pictures there from within the court premises itself. Speaking to you earlier this morning, we understand that some high-profile politicians were there, but the two individuals who were playing this zero-sum game, the governor of Kano State and Gawuna, his contender in this legal suit, were they present for this judgment?
No, both of them were not present, but the governor was represented by a very high caliber of officials. The team was led by, I think, the Secretary to the State Government, Bafa Bichi, There was also the former deputy governor of the state, Professor Afis Abubakar, who now belongs to the camp of the sitting governor. He was there together with the chief of staff to the governor, several commissioners, party leaders, the party chairman, his secretary, the chief press secretary to the governor, and some of the women leaders. I think 2 or 3 of the women leaders were represented. For the APC, we had the former commissioner of rural affairs, who has now just been declared winner by another panel of the tribunal as a member of the House of Representatives. That's Musa Ilyas Ukonkoso, the party secretary Zachary Sarina, and also the former Attorney General of the state were part of the team of the APC that were at the tribunal today.
Okay. Let's finally wrap up with the mood in Kano. It has been a roller coaster for the people in Kano. Schools, some of the schools didn't open today. Businesses were very apprehensive about the judgment today. Give me a snapshot of how the state reacted to this judgment.
Yeah, the reaction of the state was an increase in the apprehension. While the judgment was going on, maybe news were filtering in. Celebration were seen across the state in some members of the APC. But few minutes after then, we could see that people were rushing to close their shops in the market. There was rancor. People were running, and with no one actually pursuing within. Maybe they just saw the crowd of people celebrating and started running, trying to close their shops. And so just like you said, today a lot of schools did not open, and I spoke with a couple of school proprietors few minutes or hours ago, and they still indicate that they are most likely not going to open their schools tomorrow. A lot of businesses have said they are not going to open tomorrow also because while there is some form of calm in the city, no one is sure of what may follow next. No one is sure if there will be counter protests, if there will be counter celebration or whatever. So people are trying to play it calm, to be indoor, and to see that their lives and properties are secure.
Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Still having the studio, Jamilu Mohammed is an analyst and author. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm just getting worried, just the way I'm sure many viewers are getting worried with so much investigation, while many things have not been explained yet. As I asked earlier, price of crude has gone up, but despite the claim by the federal government that they have hands off market forces, right? We're still buying fuel at 617, 620. But in actual international market, it ought to be higher. Who is subsidizing who?
We are still not sure of the issue of subsidy. You see, well, I saw a report this morning about, in fact, it was a bold headline of yours about certain monies not remitted by certain government agencies.
Yeah.
Remember, that was the problem former CBN governor Sanusi Lamido pointed at, that actually brought him his bad days. When he said about $20 billion were unremitted by NNPC then, right? Okay, if you have this kind of scenario, and then you have marketers telling us that NNPC is the sole importer of oil in Nigeria.
Now they have opened the gates.
They said they have opened.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Or purportedly.
But we are yet to, you see, we cannot listen to what they say. We just have to see it in our own economy working. If we see the prices coming down, other marketers saying, yes, I went to the depot, I got or this thing, or not going to, in fact, this is the main problem. They go to NNPC depots to get money because NNPC is the only one importing the product. Okay, now, why can't I import the product? They say we don't have dollar. All right? Where do you get these dollars? You get the dollars in the dollar market. Where's the dollar market? The banks. Go to the banks and get your own. Now, you go to the banks, these dollars are not there. Because I still believe the issue of round tripping is still there, the bane of our economy.
Despite the bridging the gap.
Bridging. Yes, because there was an allegation about 2 weeks ago that there were certain people who were selling the dollar below the official price. Where did they get the dollar? Isn't that surprising? If below even the official price. So it means they have this thing in stock, and they didn't work for it. Now they want to disburse it. And that is what will float the market. Okay, but you as an importer, you want to get this dollar, you do not have it, you have to go to the dollar market. And there you are going to compete with NNPC. If you are competing with NNPC there, what do you get? If you are demanding for $1 million, you go and get maybe $200,000. How are you going to manage that? You are not going to import enough. In fact, if that is, even if you are going to use the same price, because that is the allegation by the importers, that even meeting the price there, the price that is being given to NNPC is not the same price that is being given to them.
That is the marketers,
the private marketers. The private marketers, the private importers. That means they sabotage somewhere else.
And I saw a report today, because there was this hope that maybe with the coming of Dangote refinery, the price might likely come down. But what I read today is that it will not come on board until around November.
Before the going of President Muhammadu Buhari's government, we were told that Dangote's July has come, is not there. So
August has also moved
so
on, yeah.
I'm not optimistic about November or December. I'm not optimistic actually. So forget about that one. Let it come when it will come. Let us deal with what we have. You see, like Keynesian economist Keynes was saying that why wait for long term when in the long term all of us would have been dead? Deal with an issue today.
Then how can they deal with it now? Because Nigerians practically, they are yet to start coping with the realities.
The whole thing is so jumbled that you begin to pick bits and pieces to try to see where to assemble it. I actually pity this government. The way they are handling the issue of the CBN. You see, appointing the private investigator, there are question marks on the issue. What actually transpired in the central bank is actually an issue. Let me give you another example. The accusation against Emefiele, one of the accusations is he wanted to stabilize the Naira because the Naira was continuously falling. So what he did was he went went to JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and then borrowed some $8.5 billion, I think. What the process is so intricate. He gave Nigeria's foreign reserve as collateral.
Is this an allegation?
That's part of the allegation that is there, and that is what they are saying. They are saying exactly that was what happened. And let's wait to see. This is actually the allegation that is going. He now borrowed $8.5 billion, now hedging as collateral the foreign reserve. Say that is reckless. Okay, if that one actually happened, now our foreign reserve may be now managed by JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and that is difficult for us too. This is one of the allegations. They are saying they are going for player bargain.
We hope these allegations will not come to pass.
Come to pass. But you see, in Nigeria, when you have this, these things are filtering through from
insiders.
Yeah,
they release the information.
They release the information bit by bit. This is the information that is coming.
But local man on the street, Jamilu, manufacturer, importers, what they want is something that will work for them. So what is the should we continue to borrow? Because from what we have seen, even this government is still heavily indebted, apart from what they met on ground.
Our manufacturers, what are they manufacturing? This is the problem of not having the fundamentals the other person spoke about. Not having the fundamentals. If you are talking about the manufacturers, what are we manufacturing? I say we have a global market. The global market has a demand. You cannot manufacture what the market is not demanding and go and sell. So you have to now have the fundamental. Let me give you an example. The largest thing in global market today is semiconductors. Nigeria is nowhere close to that. What of our steel industry? I checked our steel industry. We are not in the first 30 when steel is actually running global economies. Semiconductors are actually running global economies, right? Okay, all this, what are we manufacturing? When we started the issue of lithium, I think what is the...
They have discovered a site in your home state, Taraba.
Taraba, Benue, Plateau, Gombe, a lot of lithium deposits. Okay, now instead of mining lithium and then exporting it raw,
because it is being sought after at the global market.
At the global market. Today we have a transition from fossil fuel to clean energy. And then these lithium batteries are very important.
It's a driver.
It's the driver of that economy. Okay, why would you mine your lithium and then just export? Just the same mistake we are making about oil.
We have started making similar mistakes.
Why not now set up factories in Nigeria?
Instead of exporting the raw material.
If, what is this man, this owner of Twitter, he has these electric vehicles. He actually engaged Nigerians about 3 times about lithium. Well, a part of them said, we are not going to give you lithium. If you want, come and establish a factory in Nigeria. Now, all your battery requirements, produce 60% of your battery requirements in Nigeria, and then 40% carry the lithium.
So that jobs could be provided.
That is it.
There will be additional value for
exactly. This is what the manufacturer requires. This is the kind of manufacturing environment we require in Nigeria. Otherwise, if the manufacturers we are talking about, let us not confuse who is a manufacturer and who is a producer. Producers are not manufacturers. We have to distinguish that in economics. So who is this manufacturer you are talking about? If you are talking about manufacturer in Nigeria today, manufacturing what for the global market? This is a fundamental structural problem. Unless we solve that, the government would have to come out deliberately and say, look, we are going to manufacture A, B, C, D for the global market. It does not matter whether the structure is there or not, even if it means we have to start the structure today. One of the things that has made Iran a global power today is simply what? Steel.
They invested heavily in despite the
steel. The sanctions actually helped them even to invest in steel. And then in what? Manpower, education.
Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. The Plateau State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Jos has upheld the election of Governor Caleb Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party. The tribunal also dismissed the petition filed by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Nentawe Iluwada, for lacking merit and being incompetent. Trust TV reporter in Jos, Ado Musa, files the report.
Independent National Electoral Commission had declared Governor Caleb Mutfwang as the winner of governorship election held on March 18. But the APC candidate, who came second in the election, Nentawe Iluwada, had challenged the declaration of Mutfwang and asked the court to declare him winner on the grounds that the PDP failed to conduct ward congresses and that there was overvoting in some polling units during the election. The petitioner also argued that the governor did not score the highest lawful votes, asking the court to declare all the vote cast for the governor as wasted votes. Delivering judgment led by the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Erele Ifene, said the issue raised by the petitioner on party structure were pre-election matters and the petitioner lacked the lacus to challenge it. The tribunal also held that there was no evidence that Governor Mutfwang didn't score the highest lawful vote in the election. Counsel to the APC and PDP candidates speak on the judgment.
Obviously, we're in a judicial system that encourages appeals, and you are all aware that in Nigeria, sometimes decisions of lower courts are overturned in the appellate courts.
The petitioner has no cause to challenge the nomination of the governor, who is in another party from that of the petitioners.
The state chapter of APC, while reacting on the judgment, called on its supporters to remain calm, as the candidate of the party will appeal the judgment at the appellate court. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Ado Musa now joins us via telephone to give us more updates on happenings in Jos, hours after the tribunal. Hello, Ado.
Yes, hello.
Okay, welcome to the program, Daily Politics. Is there a curfew? Let me start this way. Is there a curfew in Jos as we had it in Kano?
Well, in the case of Jos, there has not been any curfew because the judgment went peacefully, even though before the judgment day, there were a lot of comments, especially on the social media, where people were making a lot of insightful comments, particularly between the supporters of the APC and the PDP. So then people thought that probably today is going to be a different day. That is, today is going to be very violent. But luckily, everything went well even before the tribunal started. We have security everywhere. When you go to close to the tribunal, you also have security personnel stationed in the area. When you go to inside the premises of the tribunal, you also see security personnel virtually everywhere. So everything went well. There wasn't any curfew imposed by the security.
Are there some surprises from the outcome of the judgment today?
Well, for the APC, that is the APC supporters, the outcome of the tribunal was very, very surprising, considering the fact that there were previous judgments which now rule in their favor, particularly on the ground that the PDP doesn't have structure on the plateau. So they were thinking that probably today the judgment will also be in their favor simply because the previous judgment ruled in their favor. But to the PDP members, it wasn't surprising because even before the judgment, they were very happy that possibly the judgment is going to be in their favor. And luckily for them, the judgment came in their favor. So it was a surprise for the APC supporters, and it wasn't any surprise for the PDP supporters.
Okay, now separate tribunals, right? I think they had Tribunal A and Tribunal B. Some elections have been nullified. What were the grounds that led to the nullification of a senator and some members of the House of Representatives? I think about 4 or thereabout. All members of the PDP, yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, what happened was, all the APC petition, part of their grounds or one of their grounds or the major ground has been the issue of party structure. The APC believe that because of the claim that the PDP refused to conduct what congresses as ordered by the lower court, or rather a just high court, it means that the PDP is not qualified to sponsor any candidate for an election. And that is why virtually all the APC candidates who now file a petition have this as their first ground that, okay, the PDP doesn't have structure in the state. And for that reason, the party is not qualified to sponsor any candidate. So when you look at the judgment, that is judgment by Tribunal A and the judgment by Tribunal B, you find it difficult to understand why the judgment came this way. This is so because Tribunal A, which is the panel 1, ruled, or rather say that the PDP in the state doesn't have the structure, and the APC has the jurisdiction to challenge the sponsorship of any candidate under the platform of the PDP. While in panel 2, that is Tribunal B, in that one, the tribunal says, no, the APC doesn't have the jurisdiction to challenge the sponsorship of any candidate based on the structure. The chairman of the tribunal said that because it is an internal affair and therefore the APC candidate doesn't have the jurisdiction to challenge the structure of the party, because this is an internal affair and this is a pre-election matter. And for that reason, the APC doesn't have any locus to challenge that is the structure of the PDP in Plateau State. So this is how the tribunals now pass their judgment. Wow. Tribunal A says they don't have a structure, while Tribunal B, which is the second one, says that the PDP has structure.
Now, is the APC heading to Court of Appeal, that is for the governorship, and PDP, are they also planning to go to Court of Appeal for their chairs that have been taken, by Tribunal B?
Okay, soon after that is today's judgment, the counsel to the APC candidate, Edward Pajov, now told journalists that they are very ready to go to the appeal court to ensure that they reclaim, or that is they reclaim their mandate. He confirmed to journalists that yes, this is something that they will not leave it like this. They will have to go to appeal court, and they are very optimistic that when they go to appeal court, they will definitely get their mandate. And the PDP also is saying that whatever decision the APC is taking, they are ready. If they go to appeal, they are also ready to also meet them at the appellate court.